On July 16, 1999, the Kennedy curse reared its dreadful head once more. The plane, piloted by the former president's son, plummeted from the sky, adding another tragic chapter to the family's legacy of misfortune. Was this a mere twist of fate, a cruel coincidence, or something far more sinister lurking in the shadows? Join us in this episode as we find out the truth behind this tragedy that should never happened. John F. Kennedy, Jr., often affectionately called John, was born on November 25, 1960 in Washington, D.C., just weeks after his father, John F. Kennedy, was elected President of the United States. He spent his early years in the White House, becoming a symbol of American hope in the Kennedy legacy. Growing up in the White House, one of the most iconic buildings in the world, John Jr. was surrounded by history and power. However, his early years were marked by tragedy. At just 3 years old, he lost his father to an assassination in Dallas, Texas on November 22, 1963. Despite growing up in the limelight, John Jr. was determined to carve out his own identity. He embarked on a diverse career path, starting in the Office of Business Development in New York, where he eventually became deputy director. His interest in law was sparked in 1988, when he worked as a summer associate at a Los Angeles law firm. Although he faced setbacks, including failing the bar exam twice, his perseverance paid off when he passed on his third attempt in 1990. He then served as an assistant district attorney in New York, winning his first case as a prosecutor in 1991. John Jr. was a graduate of Brown University and New York University Law School. John Jr.'s personal life was often in the public eye, especially his romances with high-profile celebrities. In 1996, he married Calvin Klein publicist Carolyn Bessette. The couple's life was constantly scrutinized by the paparazzi, which took a toll on their relationship. Carolyn struggled with the relentless attention, feeling that her professional opportunities were overshadowed by her husband's fame. Despite these challenges, the couple remained strong. In the late 1990s, John Jr. pursued a long-held dream of learning to fly. Despite his sister's concerns, he earned his pilot's license in April 1998 after training at the Flight Safety Academy in Vero Beach, Florida. He purchased a Piper Saratoga light aircraft the following year. On July 16, 1999, John Jr., Carolyn, and her sister Lauren Bessette set off from Essex County Airport in New Jersey, intending to attend his cousin Rory Kennedy's wedding in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. They planned to stop at Martha's Vineyard to drop off Lauren. Sadly, they never reached their destination. On that fateful day, John F. Kennedy Jr. started his routine with a lunch meeting with the editors of his magazine, George. After a workout at the gym, he left work around 1 p.m. to pick up his sister-in-law, Lauren Bessette. He also called Essex County Airport to ensure his plane was ready for the evening flight. Meanwhile, his wife, Carolyn, spent the afternoon shopping and joined them at the airport later than expected due to heavy traffic. As night began to fall, John, ever the cautious pilot, felt a twinge of anxiety about the trip to Martha's Vineyard. He had expressed his nervousness to a friend earlier that week, recalling how he had canceled a flight months before due to poor conditions. Despite his reservations, he didn't want to disappoint the two women and convinced himself he could manage the journey safely. At the airport, another pilot, Kyle Bailey, who had helped prepare John's plane, was concerned about the worsening weather. Adding to the complexity, John was recovering from a broken ankle, recently freed from a plaster cast after a hang-gliding accident. Feeling confident enough to fly again, he boarded the small aircraft with Carolyn and Lauren seated behind him. As the clock struck 8:38 p.m., John F. Kennedy Jr.'s small aircraft lifted off into the enveloping darkness. He aimed to navigate to their first stop, but visibility at Martha's Vineyard had dropped to 6 miles. The journey to Martha's Vineyard should have taken an hour, but the weather worsened, and John hadn't filed a detailed flight plan. Reports indicated he didn't communicate via radio during the flight, missing crucial weather updates. Other small aircraft in the area diverted inland as the fog thickened, but John pressed on. After 62 minutes in the air and just 20 miles from their destination, John checked in with Martha's Vineyard Airport and began his descent. Suddenly, disaster struck. In less than 30 seconds, the Piper Saratoga plunged 700 feet, crashing into the Atlantic Ocean just 8 miles from shore. No mayday call was made. There was no time to react to the rapid descent. Kyle Bailey, the pilot who had watched John depart from Essex County Airport, believed the plane was upside down before the crash. Disoriented, John had pulled back on the yoke, worsening the dive. The aircraft descended at a terrifying speed of 4,700 feet per minute. The last radar signal showed the plane at 2,100 feet before it hit the ocean at 79 feet per second. The impact tore the wings from the fuselage, and the 3 occupants suffered fatal injuries, as the plane sank to the ocean floor. When John F. Kennedy Jr.'s plane failed to arrive at Martha's Vineyard, a massive search operation was launched. Coast Guard and Air Force teams combed the ocean and skies along the coastline. The next day, searchers found aircraft debris and a black suitcase belonging to Lauren Bassett, dashing hopes for any survivors. 3 days after the crash, on July 19th, sonar from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, vessel Rude, detected a debris field on the ocean floor. Divers descended to 120 feet and, on July 21st, recovered the bodies of John, Carolyn, and Lauren from the mangled wreckage. They were still strapped into their seats. An autopsy confirmed that all three had died on impact from multiple traumas. After the crash, rumors and conspiracy theories began to swirl. Some speculated that the plane had been sabotaged by those who feared John F. Kennedy Jr.'s potential rise to the presidency, given his immense popularity. Others claimed to have seen an explosion in the sky around the time the aircraft went down. There were even whispers that someone might have wanted to silence John due to his relentless quest for the truth about his father's assassination, a dangerous pursuit if the culprits were still at large. However, thorough investigations debunked these theories. The plane showed no signs of tampering, and there was no evidence of an explosion before it crashed. Additionally, the aircraft had passed a safety inspection less than a month prior, ruling out mechanical failure as the cause. The fact is that John had been a licensed pilot for just over a year, accumulating around 300 hours of flight experience. His instructor had noted that John sometimes struggled with reading instruments and had offered to accompany him as a co-pilot. However, John preferred to fly solo, finding peace in the cockpit, away from the relentless media attention. Unfortunately, this decision led to tragic consequences. John's recently acquired license only allowed him to fly in conditions with visibility of 5 miles or more. He wasn't qualified to fly solely using the aircraft's instruments, as he was only a VFR-rated pilot. This meant he could only fly using visual references. Pilots with this certification can later apply to become IFR-rated, allowing them to fly using instruments alone. While the exact details of what happened remain unknown, experts believe that John suffered from spatial disorientation. For a pilot without IFR certification, navigating a complex aircraft in the night sky can be incredibly challenging. John likely experienced black hole vertigo, where he couldn't distinguish between the black sea and the black sky. Black hole vertigo, also known as the black hole illusion, is a dangerous phenomenon that can occur during night flights, especially over water or unlit terrain. This illusion happens when a pilot is flying in conditions where there are no visual references, such as stars, moonlight, or ground lights. The lack of visual cues can cause the pilot to become disoriented, making it difficult to distinguish the horizon and leading to a loss of spatial orientation. In such situations, the pilot might feel that the aircraft is level when it is actually in a banked turn or descending. This disorientation can cause the pilot to make incorrect control inputs, potentially leading to a dangerous situation. In short, the term black hole refers to the sensation of flying into a void where the sky and sea blend into one, making it nearly impossible to maintain proper orientation without relying solely on instruments. In John's case, the instruments told him one thing, but his mind and instincts suggested another. For an inexperienced pilot, trusting the instruments over one's own senses can be difficult. This led to a disconnection between reason, instinct, and reality. Pilots might feel the plane is veering to the right despite the instruments indicating otherwise. They instinctively adjust the controls to compensate, which can quickly lead to losing control of the aircraft due to overcompensation. After all, John F. Kennedy Jr.'s crash highlighted the critical need for IFR certification, awareness of spatial disorientation, and the importance of weather considerations, flight planning, and communication. It also underscored the value of experience, caution, and physical fitness for pilots to ensure safe flights. And that's the end of our episode today. If you find it useful, don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button to see more content like this in the future. Thank you for your support, and with you all, stay safe up there.